Scenario 3. April 8th of the current year, Amy is scheduled to meet with Bob and the finance department regarding implementing in the upcoming year a new technology that will assist in accounts payables. This will streamline and add efficiencies to managing consultants. The meeting was scheduled for 2 p.m. Amy accepted the meeting invite a week ago. Unfortunately, all participants were present with the exception of Amy. Bob texts Amy at 2:20 p.m., but his text messages go unanswered. Bob calls Amy at 2:45 p.m. His call goes straight to Amy's voicemail. Amy arrives back at the office at 3:15 p.m. holding shopping bags from nearby retailers. What should Bob do? Stop the course and take 5 minutes to reflect on the situation and come up with next steps. Scenario 3, recommended intervention. Fact finding. Bob opens up the Progressive Discipline Guide and goes to the fact finding section of the manual. Emotions. Bob is upset. He also feels embarrassed in front of finance. Assumptions. Bob assumes that Amy blew off the meeting or extended her 1 p.m. lunch by an hour so that she can go shopping. Bob then remembers that he must put away his assumptions and give Amy the benefit of the doubt. Expectation/communication. Bob double checks his calendar and sees that Amy accepted the meeting invite. Bob reviews his electronic log and documentation, which included discussion of Amy's schedule/lunch breaks. Obstacles will be discussed when Bob meets with Amy face to face. Recommended intervention, a verbal reminder. Bob sits down with Amy to get her side of the story. Amy apologizes for not attending the meeting and extending her lunch break by another hour. Amy also tells Bob that she intended to work an extra hour that day to make up for the time, but failed to communicate. Amy also communicates to Bob that she felt, quote unquote, I wasn't really needed for the meeting. I don't have to be here for this. You can update me later, end quote. Bob remains calm but is puzzled by Amy's comments. Bob states the following. Amy is receiving a verbal reminder in the area of attendance/punctuality. Amy is to attend all scheduled meetings, and if there is any deviation from that, it needs to be communicated in advance. Amy is instructed if she needs to extend her lunch or wants to modify her schedule, it must be requested in advance. Amy agrees to what Bob has specified. After the meeting, Bob completes the post-meeting checklist and places a copy in her employee file. Here we have a copy of the post-meeting worksheet, the documentation that Bob would have completed to place in her file. We see here under type of problem, we have attendance checked off because this is an attendance issue. Summary of discussion, Bob writes down, sat down with Amy. She apologized for not attending meeting. She stated she felt she wasn't really needed for the meeting and was going to work an extra hour to make up the time. Employee action to be taken by the employee to correct the situation. Amy agreed she is to attend all scheduled meetings, and if there is any deviation, she would communicate in advance. Amy also agreed if she needs to extend her lunch, she must request it in advance. Other action not applicable. Employees' comments. Amy felt she wasn't really needed for the meeting. Follow-up date, a month from today. Under intervention, Bob has checked off a verbal reminder here.